Hi Leo, and welcome to your energy reading for May, the 8th of May 2017. Have a look at what possible energies are surrounding Leo for this forthcoming week. We have the Seven of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, and the Four of Wands. We have the Ace of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. We have the Three of Swords, the Ten of Wands, and the King of Cups. So the first energy we come into is the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles talks about assessing. It talks about our money, but our perseverance in endeavours, our dedication in work, investments, and time and success. The dedication is beginning to pay off, and we're getting a glimpse of the rewards of what can be and what can come to fruition when we reach the Ten of Pentacles. We're not gaining the acknowledgement we want yet, but there's a promise that it's there. There's a realisation in this card that to make the other three pentacles, we do have to put in more hard work, sacrifice our time, our energy, and pay attention to detail. But it will all be worthwhile. Don't doubt our abilities or the path we've chosen. Just keep going, because we are on track for success. And that sits next to the Six of Swords, which the Six of Swords talks about taking ourselves from stressful situations into a calmer environment, walking away from things that no longer serve us, walking away from mindsets or responsibilities that weren't in our best interest. Being able to pick up and move from the choppy emotional energy of the waves here to a smoother and calmer, more peaceful place in our environment. It can talk of actually moving. It can talk of moving over water. But it does talk about moving on. So maybe it's persevering on in the path that we've chosen and not doubting ourselves. It talks about going with the go with the flow in life. There's no need to resist this kind of change, because this kind of change is good. It's about finding peace and resolution in a situation. It can talk about moving over water. But the movement forward is all positive. And that sits next to the Four of Wands. Now the Four of Wands is the marriage card. It's the commitment card. It's the happy ever after. It talks of getting to a stable and sound position in life, that we can celebrate it and others can celebrate it too. It can be a celebration. It could be a party, a engagement, an anniversary, a wedding. But it talks about being in a place where there's balance and contentment. Again, this card can talk about moving home, or travel. It talks about we've achieved a goal, If we're looking for a new home, we've found it. It's completing a project or passing a test and getting recognised for it. It talks of holidays, socialising, trips away. It talks about leisure, fun and freedom in a situation. Celebrating the joy of life and being in touch with the inner child. It talks about replenishing our mind, body and soul, and we deserve it. So, appreciating some celebratory times that are available. And we may be celebrating because our hard work and diligence has paid off, because we can now move on and celebrate a brand new start in the material world around us. So a brand new start in our home. It could be a brand new home. We could very well be moving. It could be a brand new job, and we've been offered that job that we've worked so hard to try and attain here. But it talks about money coming in. It talks about receiving your gifts, seeing the opportunity to generate more income through work or a personal project. In the Ace of Pentacles in a relationship shows a stability in a relationship, or the offer of a stable relationship. It talks about using money wisely, but it does talk again about moving to a new home or investing in property. But it's a happy, stable, successful time with promise. It's about making your money work for you and making wise financial decisions. Now it could be a creative project that we realise we can turn into some kind of earnings here. And that does talk about the season of autumn. So maybe we started it in the autumn, or we're looking at making more of it in the autumn this year. And that comes alongside the Page of Wands. Now the Page of Wands is full of optimism, excitement, passion, desire, is eager to get moving on the new venture that's in front of him, is eager to communicate and start building on the promise. His desires and passions are creating. The page talks about travelling again, but he does talk about communication. If there has been a situation where we've had no communication, we will see communication pick back up in this area. But he does talk about new work, a transition. It does also talk of the entertainer, so it could be more of a entertainment field we're looking at, or more of a creative pursuit. But it's now time to express ourselves in words, pictures, dance, music, what other creative way we can find. It's about being fun and flirtatious, and having a spring. I always think this is funny, having a spring in our step. Well, the wands do represent this timing of spring, and we are in spring timing now, being in the Taurian energy. So it is time now to start things moving, even if it is only communicating about it, discussing about it. But it's time to start getting moving towards this new start of something we can physically bring into our environment. And that is flanked, again, the enthusiasm and all the eagerness to get going is flanked the other side by the Ace of Cups. So we have the Ace of Pentacles, Page of Wands, Ace of Cups in a row. A new beginning of an emotional level, a new promise of personal happiness, emotional connections. It can be the birth of a child. It can be the start of a relationship. It can be the beginning of passions. Now, the Page of Wands talks all about our passions. And he's racing, communicating our passions straight to this new beginning in the material world, in our environment around us. But he talks about our creativity, fulfillment, and the promise of happiness and a good overflowing of emotions. It's a card about heart's desires being fulfilled. And being artistic, creative in our pursuits of a relationship. It can talk of a new business, a new book, renewing anything. It can bring feelings of emotional overwhelmment. So maybe there is a warning to not be too overwhelmed, because we do have a new beginning of an emotional level and a new beginning in the practical environment around us. Then we go into the energy of the Three of Swords. Now the Three of Swords is the card that depicts as betrayed in love, as feeling the real hurt, loss and pain of a betrayal in a relationship. It talks, excuse me, it's referred to as the heartbreak card. When this card appears, everything's out in the open. There's no more deceit, there's no more wondering if something's going off. We actually know now what the situation is. The truth is there. The relationship has broken up. There's been affairs, there's been disappointments, there's been deceit. Whatever it's been, we're aware of it now. We know exactly where we stand, and we see the truth in the situation. It can refer to a three-way situation in a love scenario, but it can also talk to things like fear, doubt and ego holding us back. Ourselves, doubting ourselves, are stabbing a sword in, unwilling to face the future and the challenges, the fears that were not good enough, putting a sword in, and the ego not wanting to fail, putting a sword in. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going through this kind of deceitful energy around us at the minute, but maybe these three things are what can throw our emotions off balance and us get a bit too emotional in this new beginning. and that's sat next to the Ten of Wands. Now the Ten of Wands talks about coming to the completion, the end of a cycle. This is Jason. He's been with the Argonauts and he's got the Golden Fleece. It's cost him everything. He hasn't got a member of his crew left. His boat's battered on the beach. Yeah, he's got the fleece. He's done exactly what he needed to do. But he's overwhelmed now by what he has actually gone through to make it all the way to this 10. And at this point, all he can do is lay them down. Feel peace in the fact that it is completed. Maybe look at how many burdens aren't his own that he ended up carrying on this journey, and putting up good boundaries to move forward on a brand new passionate start. And that's sat next to the King of Cups. Now the King of Cups talks to Pisces, Scorpio or Cancer. Out of the three, we talk to Cancer here more directly. But the King of Cups is a kind, caring, compassionate man. He is fair, is sensitive, is loyal, and is committed. This card advises us, if it's our own energy, to follow our emotions, but don't feel like we've got to explain why. Just trust. He's a devoted guy. He's devoted to his friends, his family and his career, and when he makes a commitment, he's loyal for life. He feels things deeply, and he is heart-centered, kind and caring. And what he does offer is a good, stable love offer. But it may be asking us to bring ourselves more into the energy of the King of Cups, Leo, and looking at things from the perspective of everyone, how it impacts everyone, not just ourselves. But it could be an offer from a water sign that's very passionate, that is communicated. We have two brand new beginnings, something material that has an emotional connection, so it could quite easily be a new romance or a new home. I think the Three of Swords, if it is in reference to a betrayal of love, it's here to signify that mental expectation. With the Three of Wands, we talk about growth and expansion in things. And if we grow that kind of mentality of feeling burdened, over-restricted, and people deceive us and don't treat us right, then unfortunately that's the way we'll go. By cutting clear on these kind of energies, which we do in the Six of Swords and the Seven, by assessing how we think about these things and where we've come and what we've carried and what we've gone through, and realising we are on the right path and driving forward, then we can enjoy the benefits, the celebrations, the house move, the emotional coming together, the passionate new beginning, and manifest, start a new business, start a new relationship that's emotionally fulfilling in the present, in the now, in the spring. We have no timing cards. that give me an indication? Well, yours actually is the first reading out of all the readings that there isn't a major arcana. They're all minor elements. They're all little things that you can do, we can do throughout the week. Keep on the path of this business venture, this home structure that you're already building on. The security, the job, the foundations of your world. Keep the positivity and the determination to go through. Do not be put off by bad mindsets, by our anxieties, our fears, or what could go wrong rather than what could go right. Looking at the possibilities of the negatives rather than the positives this week. Throw the negatives out. They're not needed this week. If we throw the negatives out, we can move on with just what we need this week, with excitement and enthusiasm, communicating, putting down all the unnecessary burdens and putting up good boundaries, healthy boundaries to move forward, which brings us to a point of success, a celebration of some kind, and it could be a new relationship with a kind, caring man that has got a dependable offer, or woman, whatever floats your boat, or feeling more in our emotional nature. So we're quite happy and willing and ready to offer someone else our cup of love. With that said, there isn't another person in this reading. Leo, this is so Leo. If that's not us in our emotional element, then Leo, there could be a water sign around us, Pisces, Scorpio or Cancer. Which again, we could say in the Ace of Cups, there's that energy around us, you see. So it would be quite understandable that we are in the King of Cups energy. The only other person that I could pull in this, if it is to be a love relationship, I would say it's regarding a water sign. If they're not a water sign, we're looking at the loving compatibility of both sides. If we get over the fears and anxieties, if we get out of the mindset of what could go wrong and move forward passionately on our desires, we get to that success card again. Assessing, well, getting to the 10 of Wands is the completion of the cycle. That reverts back to an Ace of Wands. So putting down the burdens and reassessing our passions brings us to a new beginning. Moving on with only what we need to move on with, to a calmer period. Also promotes a new beginning. I really feel like there's a chance of love around us this week, Leo. Maybe we've come into an energy by putting down these older energies. We've come into an energy that someone, could even be an earth sign with the Ace of Pentacles here, I'm thinking. We could even be looking at an earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn or Virgo. That's fueled our fires of desire, and we want to communicate our love to this person. So we find ourselves by the end of the week in the energy of the King of Cups and offering love or thinking about love more as finding the direction of where we want to focus our attention now. The next passionate cycle may be a cycle of the heart. Two aces together can talk of a proposal of marriage. So we could hear of a proposal, or there could be a proposal of marriage this week. And as I say, the only negative feelings we've got really in this whole reading is the Three of Swords and the Ten of Wands. And with the Three of Swords, we've realised the pain, we know the truth, so we can rebuild from that. And with the Ten of Wands, we've realised we've come to an overwhelming stage in responsibilities and tasks we take on, and ways we split ourselves, and ways we prioritise other people before ourselves, and put up them firm boundaries and take care of ourselves. Apart from that, everything else is brilliant in the reading. It's all positivity, it's all movement, and taking action now on the desires that have come to light and started stirring within us for our new beginnings. As I say, the time period we've got is in the spring. We're talking about now. The King of Cups, I can look at a Cancerian, so if we wanted to, we could look at the time period of the 24th of June to the 9th of August. So maybe there's something we're planning around that time, or in that time period, that we're working towards. But opportunities are around us this week, and the option to move forward with them very prominent and strong. Right then, guys, I'm going to leave it at that for this week. I hope thank you very much for coming to see me again, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye.